go time? It is go time. We can do the thing. Okay, awesome. Thank you all for coming to our panel all about neighborhoods and building communities. We have collected an amazing array of experts on community building and people stuff, and we're here to chat with you all about it. And since there's not that many people in the room, it can be a chat, so you can come up and step up to the mic at any point and ask a question. We can find out what these guys think about, what it takes to build a community. But first, it's DragonCon, and DragonCon supports charity. So I want to get this out to you. DragonCon's charity partner for 2023 is Cure. Cure is dedicated to conquering childhood cancer through funding targeted research while supporting patients and their families. DragonCon is matching up to $125,000 of donations. There's a good chance if you work for a place, they might match your donation too, and then we just rack up the points and dollars or whatever we need. And click the QR code down in the front for click it. Point your camera at it, and you can get the QR code that points you to Cure and fill the bucket with all your spare change if people carry paper money anymore. I'm not sure if that's the thing. And we also have Zakat is our track sponsor for the digital media track. For 22 years, they've been empowering lives through disaster relief, food distribution, orphan care, and more. It's another company making a difference for all the people out there. So go ahead and think about putting some money towards them. But now we're going to talk about some neighborhoods. I'm going to start with some introductions. My name is Steven Adams. I do a podcast called Those Were the Days. It's a classic TV show. I do with my friends TV's Travis, Audie Norman, and Amy Frost. We watch old TV, then we chat about it. And we invite you along on the journey. So everything from Lost in Space to the Dick Van Dyke Show to Dexter's Laboratory. We're all over the place. Year 2000 and older is classic. I'm sorry. I'm an old person, but I know it hurts every time I think about it. But it's good stuff. So that's what I do. And I'm here to moderate these folks. We'll start with Chelsea.
Hi, I'm ChelseaBytes. I'm an on-camera and online host. I've hosted for AMC, Amazon, and other subsidiaries. Honestly, I'm the streamer that doesn't stream on their own channel. Right now, I am actually doing a wonderful gig with Twitch where I am the women's guild leader, and we are aiming to bring together women across Twitch who can collaborate, express, and just, I would say, expand their horizons and also elevate their voices because, Twitch is already really collaborative, and I want them to collaborate, and they got to put in the work. And we've been working. It's been 4 months. It's a great job. But that sounds like something interesting to anybody here. I would love to talk to you about it. And that's what I do. I'm a great connector at this point. It's nice to meet y'all.
Nice. Yeah.
My name is Bobby Blackwolf. I have been a very long time podcaster of over 18 years doing a video game podcast called The Bobby Blackwolf Show. I thought I was only going to do it for 18 days or maybe 18 weeks, not 18 years. Now I'm kind of stuck. But I've been doing it live every Sunday night. So I also have technically been a streamer for 18 years, but it was internet radio over Shoutcast Internet Radio. We used IRC for the live chat. So I've been cultivating communities like that for even longer than that because I've been on the internet as well and worked with some other companies before then in the early 2000s with forum message boards and cultivating communities as well, which is why I'm up here. But I've also co-founded the Voice of Geeks Network about 11 years ago, which is a podcast network and streaming network about geek culture. And if my voice does sound familiar, I bring this up every once in a while actually every time on the video game track, that some people are like, I've heard that voice. I have also been very fortunate to be part of the Games Done Quick speedrunning marathons. So if you've ever watched any of those, I've been a host / donation reader for the past couple of years for their mainline events. Very fortunate to do that. So if you think the voice you've heard saying, we have a $25 donation from Anonymous, greetings from Germany, honk, orb, yes, chef, it was probably me or one of the other 22 people. So that's me.
Nice.
I'm Chris Kersey. I am a maker, software developer, do electronics. I have a YouTube channel where I've been doing this for about 5 years now, 6 years. I lose track. But I run the YouTube channel, Kersey Fabrications, always trying to bring people together that is interested in 3D printing, maker projects, learning to code. And so I'm keep trying to expand the channel, bring more people into the different projects that I'm working on. And so it's always about bringing people together that are interested in similar things, and that's why I'm up here.
Hi, my name is Maloa. I run a Discord channel for Lord of the Rings Online. We have over 500 members, and we've grown that size in about 2 years. We do lots of raiding, lots of gaming, lots of festivals, lots of housing, and it's just a load of fun. And I've tried to build a community really of people from all across the world. So I have people from Europe and Asia and Africa and United States and South America all in this community coming together and playing together in Lord of the Rings Online. I also have only been a YouTuber for a year. And so I've been working on a YouTube channel focused on providing guides and news for the Lord of the Rings community specifically.
Nice.
Awesome.
Hi, I am Bar Fox. I am a television and film producer. I've worked for some wonderful people and worked with some wonderful people and moguls like Magic Johnson and Tyler Perry. I'm also the creator of Cosplay Your Way. Make sure.
Yes.
Thank you. That I've created that to make sure people of color and just people that are underrepresented overall are seen in the cosplay space. I have a wonderful documentary now called Cosplay Your Way in Color, which has currently won 2 Telly Awards thus far and is continuing to grow. Hopefully it will be on some bigger platforms coming up after it finishes its tour with the Geek Fest Film Fest Festival. There's a lot of fest in that word, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you guys for the introductions. So one thing I've been noticing throughout the panels I've been a part of at DragonCon this year and before is everybody wants to know, like, how do I get my numbers up? Where do my numbers come from? How do I find people? How do I grow organically? Which is probably why a lot of these people are here. How do I make it happen? And I'm kind of wondering how your communities, and anybody can answer this or take this if you got some thoughts, came about. Was it something that you had to pursue, or is it something that kind of just happened and then you ended up having to nurture it from kind of its own little small base that just found you? Like, where did you all get started from?
I like that.
Yeah.
Fine, I'll take it. I'll bite.
knew I
Hello,
could count on
everybody. I'm sure you're here because you're trying to figure out how you navigate in your space with your channel, with your specific thing that you've built. And what's really important is understanding that face-to-face, having those connections, it's really, really important. Responding to every single email, at least ones that aren't wasting your time. You need to grab every opportunity out there and leaving with a good impression. That's really important. When you do a job, you do it well, and you leave happy, and they also leave happy. Because you can just do something, and they're like, all right, it's done. They don't care to push you to someone else. They don't care to even, come back to you, or they see you in a room and they're like, that's the thing I did with this person. But it's different when you bring personality and just humanity to that. And really, neighborhoods are how you network, because now I can go into a space. This happened to me last night. We've gone to a point in time where I was just responding to an email when somebody was like, oh, come do this man on the street interview. We really love your personality. We love the people that you've made in this tight-knit space. Yeah, you've got 20 viewers, but we think you'd be great with this, because how you are naturally interacting with your people and launch you up to just wild heights. And you don't have to have 200 viewers to do stuff that people are doing. You can have 50 viewers and do what a 200 CCV person is doing. And I'm going to speak in Twitch stuff because that's just my expertise. But yes, it's not going to ever bar you. You are going to bar you. And that means the possibilities are limitless. So how you go around building your neighborhood, keeping up with those relationships and talking and speaking to everyone around you, that's what's going to leave your mark. It's just like how, can we talk about how like the digital era really changed it for some people? Like, what is famous anymore? I think fame is so different now, because it used to just be word of mouth. Like when you're talking about Michael Jackson or even Elvis, that stuff was spread like wildfire through communities and them sharing it in their like just everywhere. That was a different kind of fame. And y'all need to use that. You need people to talk about you in other spaces, because when they interact with you, you've left an impression. So that's like how we started, because from there it launched into after 5 years. We're working with Amazon. We are working with Herman Miller. Like it can really grow into something. And I know you had a question. I just totally ignored it and just said my own
Hey,
thing.
go for it.
But no, it truly is just building. Every opportunity we had, we nurtured that. We left a good impression, and that passed on to the next job. Just layering it.
I was going to add to that because I agree with all of that.
Thank you.
Identifying your market. I come from a place where that's really, really, really big in my arena. If you can, not saying that you are going to stick only with that market, but when you're coming out the gate and identifying your market, you have a better you can have a better approach at targeting those individuals that react best to what you're trying to put out. And once you do that, as she stated, engagement is paramount. The reason why identifying your market is amazing, we have a lot of scenarios where we work in television, where we're having people try to push a show. Now, one of my particular shows, we had two choices. We had a person with maybe 1.5 million followers that was big on social media, and another one was 250,000 that actually did what the show does. And for me, I had to argue with marketing, of course, because 1.5 million looks way better than
Always.
250,000, right?
Right.
But when you have a person that's 1.5 million because he or she does all these other things and talks about all these other topics that are not in line with what the target is, it really didn't matter, because those 250 are going to talk about it, push it, engage. So people really think having the big numbers is really the way to go. And big numbers are wonderful to look at, but it's nothing like having 250,000 people talking about your stuff and spreading the word, opposed to somebody with 1.5 million and only 100,000 connect with your message. So just please keep that in mind when you are trying to grow your market. But at the same time, stay open to it changing and evolving. But I do recommend knowing what your target audience is, so you can kind of put things out to them, and that way to help you stay focused.
Can I frame that? Because I love how you said that with that. Like, really, truly, he's talking about, and I'm sorry,
No,
your
go for it.
pronouns he, are you he, him?
Am I what?
Are you he, him?
Your pronouns.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're okay. Just making sure. I didn't want to assume. I'm
This
so
is very
sorry.
courteous.
Yeah, excuse me. Like he said, so it's about the impact you make within your community, literally. So knowing where you are, always being willing to adapt and go out of your space and your comfort zone, but knowing who you're talking to, making that time to speak in that space. And they're like, oh, I know you. You're not somebody just floating around talking about or producing in the same space. You're making connections. You're talking to those people, those community managers, those creators that will take you even further. And you can just skip that whole numbers game in some cases.
So I'm probably way earlier in the process than most of you guys are, but my experience has been to really give. Okay, how I've grown my community to where it is today in the past year was really by giving of myself, giving my knowledge, giving my time, investing in other people. If somebody had a question, I would spend an hour with them working on their characters, working on their own knowledge base, and really giving of myself and my time. And by doing that, I learned what their pressure points were. I learned what their pain points were. And then I was able to identify, like, what are all the topics that probably 90% of the people out there have that want answers but can't find. And then I use that content to then go create my content on YouTube with, so that I can not only serve my direct community, but I can then serve a community at large. And that has really helped me to gain momentum as I was just starting out. So remember, I'm only a year into my whole process. And the feedback from people is always going to be where you're going to find your gems and where you're going to find your ideas that are going to hit home and that are going to really make the difference. And then the other thing that I've done to really grow my community that I've focused on in the past month is going and finding either content creators that are smaller than me on YouTube and investing in them, spending time on their channels, messaging them, getting to know what their little quirks are, and really giving back to the community at large. And you'll be surprised how many people are willing to reciprocate that and really invest in you as a creator. So if you're just starting out, I mean, like, there are so many dreams and places that I want to go, but remember who you're serving. Remember your target audience, because those are the people that are going to matter and that are going to really help you grow your community and are going to go to bat for you when you go through difficult times.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Spotlight them too, as she stated.
Yes.
Spotlight them.
Yeah, I mean, building on that, I find that the best way to figure out who your community is and to serve them is to respond to them, particularly if you build a YouTube channel, if you build any other social media presence like Instagram or whatever. When people take the time to leave a comment, ask you a question, answer those questions, answer those comments. I don't respond to literally every comment on my YouTube channel, but the vast majority, I probably respond to 90% of the YouTube comments I get. So that's hundreds of thousands of comments. But the difference, the way you are perceived to others by just responding to them when they've told you, just asked you a simple question or told you how much they enjoyed your video and they see you respond. I can't even tell you the number of times someone's gone, "Oh my God, you responded." Like, people don't even expect that these days on YouTube. They don't even expect a response from you. And when you do that, you've added a new member to your community, because now you're more real to them. You're not just a face on a YouTube channel or on a Twitch stream or whatever, but you've actually, shown that you actually care about the people that have taken the time to comment on something you've done.
So I'm going to kind of give two different answers, because I come from a completely different world than all this, because I was a podcaster first. And the way that I started building my community would not work today unless you are extremely fortunate and lucky. Because I started on second base, basically. I was already part of a community of from a content creator from the 90s who kind of pioneered a lot of this video stuff, and then went on to help found this little cable channel called G4. And I was a part of that.
Well, we can talk.
So this was before Tech TV.
Yeah.
I
So
remember
it was the
that.
2 years before they got Tech TV.
Yeah.
I was with Scott Rubin.
Yeah.
From All Games Network. And so I was part of that community. And in 2005, I started my podcast in that All Games community that was already built. So I started on second base. I already had a kind of a built-in audience because I had been part of that community for a while. And then I kind of grew from there. So I did not have to start from zero. So you have to be very fortunate to be in that situation. So I'm going to frame it in something that might work in 2023. If I was trying to do it today, and I was starting from zero, what would I do? And because I would be doing Twitch streams, participate in the Twitch culture, or in the culture, the YouTube culture, or something like that, and participate in the culture, not in a self-promotional way. Just be there, be part of their content. And then maybe, like, I'm going to go into the Twitch thing, but maybe like after you stream, you raid that person.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be like, "Oh, you're streaming." And some streamers, and they're not beholden to do this, but many of them will do, "Oh, let's shout out their channel." And it, Twitch has the shout out feature and people can follow. And then from that community, they'll be like, "Well, I mean, I like them when they chat. Maybe their stream is good." And that's how you build your community. So participate in the culture of where you want to be and have your content, not in a self-promotional way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I never put my podcast in my forum signature. I know I'm showing my age, but I never did that. But it would come up and they would find it and be like, "Oh, I remember him from the forum. Let's see." And I do have people still today that were there when I did my first episode in July of 2005, and they're still in my community every once in a while. And it's because I've tried to cultivate it, but getting them participate in the culture of a community that already exists. Don't try to start from zero.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell y'all, because I'm sorry, I'm gonna take your panel and run with it.
Go.
No, that's wonderful, actually, because I 100% agree. Like, use that. If you know somebody who knows somebody, you need to use that.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to ask, because your friends, which hopefully these are your friends, you shouldn't be asking random people to do this, but your friends should put you on. It's important to have a supportive circle. Like if I'm in a space where I'm talking to Comcast, because we could talk about all that G4 stuff.
Yeah.
But now, and oh my God, we could really talk about that.
I basically ran the chat room and forums
Of
as a
course you
volunteer
did.
from those 2 years, one unpaid.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But they put me on TV a couple times.
Right.
It was great.
A lot of it, but no, speaking of that too, a lot of this stuff you start off doing unpaid work. You
Yeah.
have to be willing to go in. I'm not saying go and break your back and let people take advantage of you, but a lot of my first gigs, I have my whole gig chart here. It's been 5 years. I've done 800 plus activations over 5 years that I've just remembered to track. And I'm pretty sure that's like up to like 850. But the first ones were very much voluntary. Me leaving an impression in the spaces that I wanted to be in, like you said. And then when that happened, people seeing that content, they're like, oh, we'd love you to be a part of this because you clearly do this. See how you have to create your own opportunities first, and then you introduce yourself into the space. You go and make impressions with people. You make friends. And then sometimes those friends might be bigger friends because some of them ended up working at Comcast. They ended up doing the new G4. Right now, I literally got Gina Darling on my show along with the rest of the G4 cast for a fight night. And that was all Amazon work. And that was just the fact that I was able to talk to them all those years ago. So it all kind of just, it can just happen, but we don't all have to start at one. Like we can start at 0 and still get to that point. So once you start getting into those circles with those friends, those people who have that power, and you make those genuine relationships, y'all can make magic. Because they'll understand you. They'll be like, oh, you're here with intention. You're not here just for a buck. Like you want to make some great stuff. And they're like, well, I got the power to do it. Let's do it. You can reinvigorate these people because they've gone through a lot of just madness and they got to, go through the grit of everything. So having a fresh face like y'all can really change everything for them.
And if you want to lift the veil, like on TV, like, if you do the stories of how a show got made or where it came from, it's mostly just guerrilla marketing. Like, from what I understand, it's like, I'm here, I know a thing, I want to talk to somebody who wants to put this on TV. It's not the thing I think I grew up with anyway was this idea of discovery. Like, oh, if I'm good enough at music, I'm gonna get discovered. No, nobody gonna find you. You got to go make it and just don't ask permission. I think Kevin Smith said that. Like, just like you don't have to ask permission to write. You don't have to ask permission to make content. So you just go make it. But that should give you a level of confidence that most people are just like you and me. There's I just went out and asked, and then half of us are on this panel because we went out and asked if we could be on the panel. And that's why we're here, which is, I mean, that's the real magic behind it all. But I wanted to touch on the huge amount of numbers that some of y'all mentioned, because it was like 200,000 or 1.5 million, I think you mentioned. And a lot of these people know who's a creator in here. Create stuff like YouTube. Keep your hand up. All right, cool. Twitch. Anybody?
Stream
everything you can.
Do y'all?
All right,
do
good. That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's good. So you got different avenues and different kind of cultures that you're trying to engage. But one of the things I wanted to know from you all is 250,000 a lot. And then at the same time you said, answer your email. And I'm like, 250,000 an email. We had this question last year, and I don't know if that person's here, but you were awesome if you are. But they asked about, I'm spending 8 hours a day replying to TikToks or YouTube. How do you balance I want to engage my community, but I also need to eat a sandwich or exercise or play a video game not on stream? Like, how do I do that? What tools do you use to manage that?
Okay, that's a great question.
That is a good question. I said a lot of numbers because I work with a lot of celebrities.
Sure,
so hopefully you all get to those numbers. But
my
at
God.
that stage,
Read me.
you said right. At that stage, you do have assistance and help. You do get to a point where you can get that. Now, with that being said, the buddy system and friend system, if you have it and you can utilize it, can be a very helpful tool for you. I have a person in the audience right now, Tania, who I've known she's a producer. Her movie dropped today, and her movie with Tay Diggs and April Jones just dropped last week. But I gave her first job.
Let's
and
freaking
now
go.
she is killing it with movies that's coming out before my movies and my TV shows. And But the good thing about her is, as you were talking about doing stuff pro bono and things, she came into my space and she just wanted to help. And that has been rewarded because she's been exceptional. And now I get to go to her movie premieres. And it's such a wonderful thing. But bringing up when I was bringing up, she helped me. So she helped answer emails.
Mhm.
She helped do things that I needed done, and I could trust her voice. Because when you do that and you get assistance, you need to make sure that person is speaking your brand, because your brand is you, and you can't have somebody in there willy-nilly and does not care, especially answering emails and engaging with your audience. He or she or they have to be in line with you. So that's one way to do it. It could be a little risky. If you get the money, you can pay for somebody to do it, but definitely skim and scan as much as you can to answer those that are going to hopefully elevate you, or someone that took the time to write something extra special, because you don't want to look back at one of those emails and see that a wonderful opportunity was missed. I've done that a few times and I'm like, oh my God, I missed the deadline. And that's not what you want to do. But it's hard to get through that many. You're right. You do have to take care of yourself, your mental health. You have to eat.
Yeah.
Go to the bathroom. So that's my suggestion: creating a group of people who could change. You know, maybe for 2 or 3 weeks or a month, they want to help you, and it's okay if they don't want to help you that next month. Okay, do not hold them. They're not working for you. They're working with you. Like designer Dean's List is in the audience too with our cosplay. Oh yeah, he's a great designer. He did Marvel for Dora Milaje and all that stuff. So he's top. But for our costumes, I work with him because he knows how to get it done. He's better at it. Why not use his resources and his skill set instead of me trying to control it? Right?
Yeah.
Why reinvent the wheel?
Right. Perfect. Why reinvent the wheel? So that's what I suggest. I hope I answered the question properly.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think until you get to that point, particularly if you have something big drop and that gives you this influx of communication that you don't normally have to deal with, it's just pacing yourself. I know plenty of times where I couldn't get to everything that day, and so you end up saying, I'm going to set aside this time, this is how long, and then basically I just kind of go through them, hitting the high points, hitting the ones that are either look like they have an importance to me for some reason. It's a common thing that you're hearing a lot, and so you want to reply to it, particularly publicly in the comments. Or you just hit the ones that are easy to reply to, and so you kind of start knocking those out, showing that you're working your way through it. If people are checking your comments, they're seeing that you're getting through these. They're seeing that you are commenting on things, which is sometimes half the point, that you are communicating, that you are involved. And so sometimes it's just a matter of working through them until you get caught up. And so I just find that I have a day job, I have a family, I can't spend hours a day just replying to comments. And so I'll just say, well, I've set aside this time, this hour, and that's what I'm doing this hour. And I just knock out as many as I can.
Perfect.
So I have a little bit of a different approach.
Yeah.
We have 550 members in our Discord server. And I could absolutely not manage it without my team.
Yeah.
I've got around 10 people that are really committed to this community. And without them, it just wouldn't happen, because they're in there day in, day out, answering questions, taking people on raids, really hanging out with the community, identifying who those special gems are, who are people that need more help. But the person that I appreciate most is my friend Jay, because she's just phenomenal at keeping a cool head and helping to moderate the entire site. So I think if you're building a community, it's good to give them a space where they can communicate with each other and help each other. And for me, that's what I think about building a community. It's not just myself that has to answer everybody or be there at every single point. It's identifying those in your community, like you said. You identify people that came into your community to work with you.
Mhm.
And then leveraging their talents and what they're good at, because at the end of the day, it takes a community to grow a community.
Yeah. And I also kind of want to mention, because you were saying, you don't have time to reply to everybody. There is a neat feature on YouTube, and all somebody wants is just to be recognized sometimes. So if you go through and there's a little heart button that says the creator saw it, and sometimes that's all you need to do. They're like, oh, they saw it. They made me. I hope I made them smile for a couple seconds while they read my comment. You don't need to actually type out a response to everybody, but that little heart, like I know, like when I've commented on some other people's YouTubes and stuff, and I see that, I'm like, yeah. And so, like, just even the little tiny things like that, or like in a Discord server, just leave an emote, leave an emote reaction, and they can see that you were one of the ones, and that means they feel seen by you, even if you're not responding to everybody. So even the little tiny things matter.
Yeah, that's good. Bobby, you and I need to get a rocking chair and just sit out sometime and talk about the old days of podcasting, because I remember all the stuff that you've been through. And thinking about big communities, and like, do we all have Discord servers or
Yes.
chat servers of some kind?
Yeah.
Like everybody's kind of on one or part of one.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I've noticed in our community, the Legion of Dorks, is that over time we've got friends, like straight up buddies on the server. Like we would meet each other out and all that kind of stuff. Not every community works that way, and you can also end up with people who attribute their love for you, but you don't even know who they are. So how do we combat a community where you might have people showing up that are just like, I'm convinced these people love me and they're my best friend, but you're like, my community is real big and I didn't know you were there. How do you deal with basically managing expectations, I think is what I'm getting at, of your community members when they join up and start becoming a part of your crew?
You mean like when they expect, what are they expecting from you?
Yeah. What do they like if they were coming in and they're like, I'm my best friend, you want to have coffee? I'm in town. And you're like, oh, I don't even.
Parasocial.
Parasocial.
Bobby's
parasocial relationship.
I learned that word from Bobby.
He's
smart.
There are just some. Yeah, that's a great. Hey, please.
I saw you online.
Yeah.
You're my best friend.
I'm like,
Exactly.
set your
Well, we put out so
boundaries.
much, like especially if you're a streamer, you're putting out so much content in a week. People feel that they know you.
Yes.
Sure.
And so they're like, well, we're friends now.
Right.
And that kind of, and sometimes, especially if they have not been in that many social situations, they take it a little bit too far, and they don't realize they're taking it too far.
Mhm.
And so, that's been a dance that, I've had to deal with a little bit, not as much as other people. I'm not going to say that I've had to, but like when I don't use my real name, Bobby Blackwolf's an amazing name. It's not my real name because back in 2005, nobody used their real name in podcasting. So, but I don't hide my real name, but I have had people try to like friend me on Facebook on my real name. And I'm like, that's where my IRL, that's where my high school people are and stuff. And so I say no. And they're like, well, I thought we were friends. And then I did have one person, so it's not widespread. One person's like, well, I'm not listening to you anymore because I thought we were friends.
It really hurt
Wow.
them.
Yeah.
So bad.
So
it's.
I have I have a lot of experience in this arena.
yes, please.
Yeah. Let us
Teach
talk.
me something.
Well, hopefully I can teach you something. This is how I've handled it. Hopefully
Okay.
So in cosplay, you meet a lot of people, and because I judge costume contests and things, it brings a lot of personalities to me. So luckily I have enough events going on through the year where I can corral people to specific places and spaces, and when I have tables to meet people, so it doesn't pull on my individual time, because I honestly just don't have it with my other life, and I have to compartmentalize and time manage. So when I do get those emails, which are often, I corral them or push them to an event that I'm going to have, or a meetup that we're going to have in the city, so they can come meet me there and hopefully be decent people and not crazy. But at the same time, it's other people there that are like-minded, for lack of a better phrase, that they can meet as well. And I won't necessarily be the all intention purpose of the event. They can meet other people too, and I encourage the networking. So it has worked for me thus far. Hopefully it will continue to work. But it's all about, for me, corralling them and putting them in spaces and say, oh, you're in town, I can't meet you right now, but I am having an event blah 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 if you're going to be in town, and please come through. It will be 60 or 75 of us, and I know you will enjoy everyone.
There you go.
I
Yeah.
love that.
So create an environment for like a meetup.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
meetups.
those don't have to be hard. Like if you've
No.
got a community, you can be like, hey, we're gonna meet and watch a movie.
Mhm.
One of my favorite podcasters started a con called Nerdtacular out in Utah, and that was how it started. A bunch of people listen. Let's all get together and watch a movie together. And it was kind of cool. Ended up having a cool event. And I think somebody else was mentioning that recently. Had people down to their house. Like just people flew in there. I didn't think anybody would come.
It's great.
We're
Luckily
having
here
dinner.
we have places like Battle and Brew and the basement, my parents'
Yeah.
basement, and
Yeah, my
different
parents'
things
basement,
where
yeah.
you can have the. It's for that.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's
And I
literally
mean, be careful what you're doing.
Yeah.
but
careful. Yeah.
but I mean, at the same time, depending on how big your community has gotten, it could be an opportunity. And by the way, there's a mic. If anybody has any questions, you feel free
Yeah.
to get up. And guess what? You get to tell who you are and what your stuff is,
Yeah.
so you can tell us what to go listen to or watch
Yeah.
or a YouTube channel. That's the
We
magic.
just
of
told our
microphones.
community to come to DragonCon.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah.
go to DragonCon.
That's kind of what we use DragonCon for. I used to like celebs, and now I'm just here for my friends. I haven't been to a single celebrity
Right,
panel. Now I
right.
just hang out in the basement. Yes,
All
sir.
right, we got
Okay. Thank you for the go ahead.
Yeah.
My name's Joshua on Facebook. My fake name is Joshua L. Knight,
Good fake name.
good one.
but I am an aspiring game developer, musician, and CG artist. A little crazy. But my question is, let's say if how would I build a community and actually get people to see my stuff? And I guess the other one is I'm going to double dip. If I want minions, like people to help, how do I even incentivize them?
Oh,
So
man,
basically,
that's a
how
good
do I
question.
incentivize people to follow me, to get into my Discord? And then how do I incentivize having minions, very happy minions, to help me with the work?
Yeah.
I want to tackle the first part of that. I'm not
I
as
can
good
do
at
the
the second,
second.
and you'll
I
do
can
the
do the
second part.
second.
Okay.
Yes.
First part,
Yes.
you mentioned 3 different things, and if the things that you're interested in are a little too disassociated, those aren't necessarily the same communities. And the only way that you sometimes bring those together is if your personality is big enough to bring them together. But if that's not the case, then you may end up building 3 communities or finding 3 communities to be a part of, because just because I'm interested in animation doesn't mean I want to develop video games. It doesn't mean I want to create music.
Mhm.
And so
they're all linked.
okay, as long as they're linked, then that's much better. But I find that, as we've already talked about a little bit, you go and find the communities that already exist, become part of them, start making your name for yourself in those communities. And then if you pull off and build something on your own, some of those people will start to follow you there. They're not leaving the old communities. They're just joining you in your new community as you're putting that together. So I do think it's important to find your niche, find the people that are also interested in your niche, find out where they're already at. Yeah. For example, like Iron Man cosplayers are heavy on Instagram, but the 3D printing community is heavy on Twitter/X. So I have to be in multiple places if I want to reach multiple audiences.
I like that. Spread your net wide.
Yeah.
Also, when you finally build up, and when you do, this community that y'all have worked together so hard to put, in this bubble where you can finally reach them. You need to take those people who are extra invested, the people who are showing up every day or every other day, or they're responding to your posts. You see them
Super
across.
fans, right?
Exactly. You take them, you go and you build a separate relationship with them, like with moderators. So shout out to my mods. I love them so much. They're amazing. I am doing, from what I'm learning as my time here as a guild leader, I'm learning proper mentorship patterns and practices, because really a lot of what we do is mentoring and building relationships and checking in regularly with those people who are super invested in your work goes a long way. The second thing you need to do after you build that, you need to give them some sort of agency or some form of credibility. So something that separates them from the rest, it rewards them.
Mhm.
So yeah, if you're a part of my community, if you're in the Byte Command, then the task managers, like, they're real. Like, they got their blue check marks in the Discord. They get to go through the chat, and this isn't allowed in our community. They have power there. So you have to make them feel like they are elevated. if they are truly your minions. What does your minion mean? Like, what does that mean to them? Would you be excited to be your own minion? You know,
Well,
like,
it was also a Minions reference for cuteness.
oh, of
Oh,
course.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever that looks like to you, you have to get excited, and then you can expect people to want it. And I think that'll be a great starting point for you.
Is
Yeah.
this actually going to be recorded? Because I'm probably going to want to play this back.
It's
Yeah, it's
absolutely
on Twitch right now.
recorded. Yeah.
We're on Twitch.
We
We're
got
live.
you. Clip that, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's good.
I
Thank you so
love
much.
love what they just said to you. I was told when I was younger, and I didn't understand it at the time, people would say align and redefine, and I would align myself, and then I needed to redefine it for me and add my own special niche to it, and
Yes.
that has worked for me in a lot of my arenas. And as she stated, when you get the people that help, make them feel special, and most definitely have true task, spelled out tasks for them to do.
Yes.
Because there's
clear.
nothing worse than you saying, I want your help. And then I'm like, how can I help? And you have no clue.
Right. Make it
Or
easy.
you give
Save
them
me.
too much power.
Or you give them too much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you're a mod of the community. Take over.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, not that much take over.
Right.
Because I've seen that.
You got to be
Yeah.
a strong
Poorly.
leader.
And it's like to continue with the neighborhood metaphor. Mr. Rogers' view of a neighborhood was people helping each other, right?
Yep.
Neighbors helping each
Yep.
other. And even though neighborhoods are weird now, and we do a lot more backyard socializing than front yard socializing, where you're waving at your neighbors still love for you to ask for a tool or
Yeah.
to ask for help. Like I
Yep.
love it when my neighbor comes over and is like, "Hey, I got to do a thing. Can you help me move something in my house?" I'm like, "Yes, I will."
Mhm.
Hey, do you have a dolly I can borrow? That'd be great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I love helping out my neighbors, and oftentimes they like helping out me. So it goes along with the same deal. Your friends in your community want to help. They just want to know what to do. All right, go ahead, sir.
Hi.
Hi. So I've been making content for a few years, and it's been steady growth, and the community's been kind of steadily growing, which is cool. It has its own little culture, which is great. But then I joined TikTok, and there was a huge surge, like it was cool and it was exciting. But then all of a sudden, I felt like the culture that I've been kind of fostering, all of a sudden, like it had a huge influx of users, terrified everyone who had been there for years, and like we almost got swept out by the tide. So since then, I've been real careful about inviting people in and trying to slow it down.
Mhm.
Am I being too precious, or how do you guys deal with the huge influx of
First of
new
all, what's your
users?
channel and content?
I gotta keep it
Yeah.
on low.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
your
get it.
question just
That's why I didn't
implies
want
that
to.
you
I
don't
was
want
like,
people.
maybe you wanted to share, maybe you didn't.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
That would just put
that's a good
Right.
question. No. So ultimately, y'all are what I want people to normalize more is that I'm a creator. I'm a creator. Like that's why I'm doing this. You are going to grow.
Mm.
Because if you just wanted to make a community and just keep it there, you'd have gone, put them all in a Discord and shut it off.
Yeah,
Period. So I'm assuming that your intention is to keep
want to
going.
grow. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So unfortunately, and maybe I'm just more cutthroat, or I'm like, I love my people,
Mhm.
but they're not always going to be there. Like
That's true.
they can disconnect.
Mhm.
Sometimes things happen and they pass. Like you will not see them again. So they are going to have to accept that you are going to have more people, and
Mhm.
the people who stick around, those are going to be your ride or dies, and you're just gonna have to live with that. I would go on and I'd be like, hey guys, we have a whole bunch of new friends. I love y'all. If that makes you uncomfortable, remember we have all these other avenues that you can still interact with me in. I'd prefer to have you here, but this is how it's going to be. Now I understand trying to like make it more comfortable, which
Yeah.
you should, but never slow your growth.
Mhm.
Let me ask a
Never.
follow-up question of you.
Please.
Are you finding that the community that's coming from TikTok is different than the
Yeah,
community?
that's the
See,
big thing.
That's
Okay.
what I heard too.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
found the same thing. Like I will put content in multiple places. And
Maybe
the
have a second
communities are
Discord or
different.
something.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
find, for example, that I've had reasonable luck on TikTok,
Mhm.
but some of the interactions I've had on TikTok have not been what I've been looking for. And so I will pull back from TikTok, even if I'm being successful there, because I'm not getting what I want out of it.
Mhm.
If I find that I'm hitting more of a general audience maybe on TikTok than what I'm getting if I'm doing YouTube or if I'm doing Instagram,
I'm split between the two of you because I'm wanting to grow, and part of
and
me
it-
is like,
yeah.
yeah, I want to grow as
but
much as
you get
possible.
to
But on the other
decide
hand, it's
how
like
you grow.
they're not the people who were coming in were very not the most mature kind of, and it
Yeah.
was like,
So-
yeah. So, then,
so on
yeah.
TikTok, my largest video I've ever put out is actually on TikTok. I've
Mhm.
got about 750,000 views on a video on TikTok. That's bigger than anything I've done on YouTube. But again, the feedback there was just so mixed that I get to decide, do I want my next big video to be on TikTok?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I got a big audience there. Sure, I got a lot of viewers.
Yeah, I'm not ignoring it. I'm absolutely trying to keep growing. So maybe a second Discord would be a good idea or something like that.
Ooh,
You get to decide how to build that community because that gets
because
get
you can
messy.
you can use your existing Discord and still separate them. I
Oh.
promise.
Yeah, you've got roles.
Yeah,
Use
you
the
don't,
roles.
you
do
don't
that.
need to make
Okay.
more work for yourself.
Okay.
But if that makes you more, because it's really you. You're
Yeah.
the only one that can answer this
A
question.
segregated Discord.
But I would just say a TikTok and Twitch Discord. You know, like.
Okay.
Yeah.
something
But
like that.
yeah, like whatever makes you comfortable. If you don't like it, because it's really you, because
Mhm.
you're the one who has to
that's
deal
what
with
I'm
it.
saying.
If
You
Yeah.
get to
you
decide.
don't like it, then yes, you absolutely should stop.
I want the. I like. But I
Yeah.
am absolutely. I think I needed to hear that of the.
Yeah.
Not
If-
everyone's going to always be there because I get
Right.
it. You get attached to your fan base after
Yeah.
years,
Yes.
and you want to make sure they're happy. The ones who
Yeah.
were there
Exactly.
originally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I have so many former listeners.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
doing
hearing
this
your
for so
stories
long.
earlier, we're
Yeah.
great for that. So yeah.
One of the things you can do on Discord, this is what we do, is because if you have Twitch, there's a bot that will actually read their Twitch subscription. And so you can tie your Twitch, people can tie their Twitch username to their Discord,
Okay.
and you can make a private channel just for subscribers to your
Ah.
Twitch channel.
Okay.
And we use that, and there's a couple people in there, but they can kind of get away from the big noise from the bigger
So
from
tiers, kind of.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do the
cool.
same.
and you can even this bot will even put the roles for the different tiers. So you can say, well, if you're a tier 3 subscriber on Twitch, you get this channel as well.
Mhm.
Or you could just, like, if you're subscribed at all, like, no matter
It
what
creates
tier.
quieter spaces for
Yes.
the people
Yeah.
that are a little bit more invested in you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's smart.
But if you do channels, I mean, you could do a TikTok channel that people
Yeah.
want to talk about what you've done there, or you can do a Twitch channel about what you've done there, particularly if your content isn't exactly the same across your socials.
Mhm.
But it depends on your community.
And you can also tell your users, like, if they don't want to hear the TikTok people and there's a TikTok channel, they can mute that channel,
Yes.
and it just doesn't show up on there. They don't
It's
get
on
any.
them.
And
Okay.
it's-
Particularly
they
if you got people contacting you going, I don't really like what's going on here. And you're like, well, why don't you go
Yes,
over
that makes
here,
yeah.
ignore that noise.
Okay.
I still want you around.
Yeah.
Building spaces for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
And establish good rules too. Like when
Mhm.
people log into the server, if they're coming in, just have a set of rules.
Make sure they're
Yeah.
following that.
Yeah,
Say it.
because you
Yeah.
need to be able to say, "Hey, you're out of line with this particular rule." I mean, we have a rule that's just don't yuck people's yums, so to speak. Like if people are having a good time, and you're just like, "I hate everything everyone's talking about," like don't do that. That's like not a kick out of the server thing, but it's just a mood. We try to create. So just moderate it.
And
that
then
way.
the last point I do want to make is just be prepared for some of your community to be a little protective of the community that they're used to, because we did have one person say, I don't want to promote this. I don't want to talk because I don't want the community to get any bigger. There's already too many people here I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a special disdain for people like that.
Yeah.
I feel like when
I don't
you
like more people.
I don't
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
I get it, but seriously, the people who really, really want to support you will talk
Yeah.
about you.
Yeah.
And those other people who are like, I'm gonna keep you to myself, they are not good for you.
Yeah.
It's a harmful relationship.
I was curious about you because you were
Yes.
running a Discord for a while.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you have any? Because yours Discord is also a little bit different because you're not necessarily trying to grow. You're trying to maintain a happy.
We're trying to maintain a community
Mhm.
and it's very niche. So
Mhm.
it's like Lord of the Rings online, but it's specifically for people on the Brandywine server.
Okay.
Do you get people though coming in that are like, I don't like noobs. I don't like people
Oh,
that are,
yes.
yeah, like, oh my God, you're asking the same
So,
question
Yeah.
again.
the
You
way-
just
Use
can't-
the search function.
Use
The way we
Like
actually
TFM.
dealt with that is we clearly defined a process.
Mhm.
So somebody comes to our server and they get to select which channels they want to listen to. Okay, and then
Precisely.
based on
That's
those
good move.
channels, they can be slotted. And we have a community of everybody comes in at the exact same level. So everybody starts as an apprentice, starts from the beginning. And then as they start to grow their characters, as they start to learn more, as their knowledge grows,
They're rewarded.
they're rewarded and they go to the next level. And so that kind of separates the people that are like already tier 5 raiders, right, from those that are just starting to learn.
Okay.
Well, as you're saying, if you
So-
do roles correctly,
Yeah.
you can
You can set all that
like
up.
I
There's a
don't
lot of
like
cool stuff.
noobs. I want to be away from the noobs, and so now okay,
veteran
you don't
I
have
am,
to
I
hear
am
that.
Yeah.
You can
currently
even do it
being,
by like I'm
yeah.
not attached to a video game, but I could do it where
But
it's
you
like the
could
people who've
set
been there for a
roles.
long enough time and
Yes.
stuff like that.
You know what?
Okay.
Just to say, I am literally being paid right now to go through the Discord spaghetti that it is. If you want to know about roles, if you want to know about achievements, everything. We're doing global announcements to several guilds, so everybody gets the information. I got you, and
Yeah.
they absolutely have you too.
Okay.
So reach out to us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And
And we're-
thank you guys. I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
We're at about
Yeah.
the 10-minute mark, so I want to make sure we get to
Yes,
as many
thank you.
questions as we can. So we might focus whoever got the best answer.
Let's get the best answer.
Yeah, yeah. Decide amongst yourself who has the best answer. That's such a great
Mine,
move.
Let's get it done.
Yeah.
I'll make it really short. I technically am running two channels. One is a solo Twitch for myself, and one is a YouTube that's run by two other people. Now the growth is that I have not seen any growth on either channel. And for my solo Twitch, it's not so much important because my thing, it was more of my playground to get better into production. So I want to use my cinematography degree.
Mhm.
The wrestling one is more because my two other co-hosts are kind of like, they want to grow and grow, and I'm over here just mostly focusing on editing and producing. I don't feel like they're doing anything as a side, but I think in a way, I don't think they even know how to go about building communities and promotions and whatnot. It just seems like their idea is just maybe saying a couple words around and try and do like YouTube stuff, but nothing really concrete.
Mhm.
Like, what would be a good starting point for them? Because I'm doing most of the production, so I mean, I could help, but
Yes, please.
Here's what you have them do.
Yes.
Okay.
Do case studies. Tell them to go if they're on YouTube, right?
Yes.
So tell them to go to YouTube,
Mhm.
find videos that are the videos that they want to have made.
1000%.
Okay, and then find those videos that are remarkable. Meaning, say somebody has 500 subscribers, but they've got 10,000 views on the video, right? Then you have them take that video and have them dissect it. So dissect the thumbnail, dissect how long it takes, dissect scripts, dissect everything, and get them invested in doing the analysis.
Can I
do
piggyback
case
off of you?
studies.
Because you're laying it down for them. But what I think you're going to is that you're probably going to be set up as a mentor because you seem to
Yes.
have an idea of what you think they're doing wrong. And you said 200?
What was that?
You said 200? You said you had another channel and there are other hosts on that channel?
Oh, just two hosts.
Two
I'm sorry.
other. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
I was like 200.
No.
Okay, no, that's a great place to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
So with that information that you're sharing about how to make good videos, because you always should follow your role models. You should follow and study from what they do.
Yeah.
But you see it. You're probably gonna have to be the one to show them how to do it. And
Mhm.
y'all can build. You've already made a neighborhood. You can build off each other. Are they rating you?
I pretty much never see any comments. I only see a couple likes. And the views never go above 100. It's always like low.
Yeah.
Before you share any of that information that you probably have come together with your production side and everything and how you think a channel should be made, you need to level with them and say, all right, if we're serious about working together, we need to support each other.
Yeah.
Because y'all need to put it together because you're not about to go and share this information, go and work together, and y'all aren't doing the basics, which is getting to know each other better, supporting each other's channels and content and all of that. So do that first, then do exactly what she said. And
Mhm.
please add on.
I was just gonna add, in case it's a scenario where it's friends and things, and you're feeling a little iffy about that. If you have a little change or you have good connections, bringing in a consultant on that specifically that is speaking your language, so it's not coming from you per se, but it's someone that can help them level up, is such a great approach, and it actually keeps people feeling like it's not an attack sometimes,
Yeah.
because you can say, I heard you're already good, but bringing her in, look at what she's done, she wants to talk to you guys just to help you be better.
And there are so many outlets for growing channels, whether it's YouTube or Twitch or whatever. If you see something, if you see a YouTube video on growing, just send them the link. Like, this is how we grow. This looks like good information. And it also, it means, as they were saying, it's not coming from you directly. It's like coming from someone that's supposedly an expert and forward that on to them.
I'm confrontational.
Yeah, I
Say it to
understand.
your face.
It's up to you. It depends on your personality.
yeah.
It's your comfort
A
level.
job and everything. Yeah, I have to be confrontational at times.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. That's
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
Helps.
Thanks.
so
Yeah.
much.
Awesome. Next up.
Hi, I'm Jason from Nightly Creations. That's what I stream on. I actually had a quick question, kind of a go back from previous conversation. You guys mentioned getting community members, moderators to come in and help you do your thing, or that community members, they want to help, but how do they? So the question I wanted to ask was, what things do you have members of your community help you with outside of the generic Twitch moderation or something like that?
Oh, is it me?
Whoever wants to take it. Who's-
I can
got a good
absolutely take it. So they go cross channel with me. They don't just moderate on my channel. They moderate wherever I'm working, and I make sure they have all the tools and everything that they need. So any company I'm working with and they have the space for moderation, I'm like, you need to set them up, give them everything. And they add that to their resume. I moderated for GCX, huge channel, like hundreds of thousands of people, and it builds on to their community building skills. Whenever we get games, whenever I get game codes, I ask for extra so they can be a part of that journey. I'm like, hey, here's some games you can play with me. You can play by yourself. There's no obligation, because it's already really hard to build a sustainable channel where you can consistently pay people. So you have to find ways to keep giving them that agency, keep doing X, Y, Z. And I know my mods are probably watching this right now like, all right, girl, when's the next game coming? Because, but yeah, they go into meetups, seeing them at conventions. There's so many little things that you can do. Weighing in on, sorry, that threw me off. Zombies. I'm always ready for the zombie apocalypse. But yeah, whenever there's an issue with the community, it really doesn't have to be complicated. It can come back just to base, like, hey, you're a part of this community. What do you think about this that happened? Or how are you feeling so far? Are you learning? Just touching base and spending time, because that's really all people really want. But yeah, quick answer. Did I help?
I'd also recommend, like, in if you have a community where people are coming to your community for help or for common questions, they don't have to be moderators for you to let them know that, please answer questions. I really like what you said to that guy. That was just the right answer. And just send them a DM and let them know that you really appreciate their interaction in the community.
Okay.
And that you're not giving them authority, but you're giving them the confidence to continue to interact and to be an important community member without any authority, just with a big voice.
And tell them you value their feedback.
Exactly.
If they give you good feedback. Tell them how much they're valued.
Help them to feel
Okay.
good about it.
And something real quick, if you have specific projects, let people work on specific projects to gauge how they work with you, and if you and that person is a good fit, and that way they're not a part of so much of your real estate. You can just say, hey, I need help with this. See how it works out, because it might work, it might not, and then you would know not to put them on bigger stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really that simple for me.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Thank you all.
Yeah. Well, we'll try to squeeze in this last one. I think we're at a 2-minute mark. So yeah,
Right.
but don't go away. You can swing back up later.
I got
We're
you.
all up here after.
We're
the
after
panel.
here
You're welcome
afterwards.
to
Yeah.
ask
So
Okay.
my question isn't totally related, but I think it's something that you guys will be able to help with. My name's Caitlin, and I work in local government. And
I'm sorry.
thank you,
Work
thank
hard.
you.
Work hard.
I work transportation, and our mayor has decided that we don't need public input because he was elected by the public by, I think, 18% of all eligible voters.
Yeah.
And so we don't need to listen to the public because he knows what they all want. And
He has a mandate from the people.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And my bosses in the department already really don't like doing public outreach to begin with, just because we have some citizens who are very concerned and come and they're vocal, and I think we should listen to them. But and I just am trying to make sure that, like, we're still able to listen to people while I'm still being told to not to, because, like, I can't magically just be like, oh, well, I'm gonna do a public meeting all by myself. But
Yeah, I understand that. You're going to need to gather internal support, and the people that align with you. I mean, I know I just met with Twitch HQ, and we got to meet all of their guilds within that company, so they get to align on their stuff, and you find that support. I don't know your situation. I don't know if it's a solitary or you have people behind you, but you need to find them, or y'all need to come together, and then from there, y'all know y'all's tools very well. And I know I feel like it's repeating the stuff you probably already know, but I feel like there's that path. Once y'all know what y'all need to do, whatever forum y'all need to make, whether it's online, whether it's in person in the community, however you can reach those people, because what do politicians know? Let's be real. Like, come on, you need public input. Find that and then put it together, present it, and give them a voice, because period, that's a problem. Do y'all have some? Because that's just my brain off the dome.
I totally agree with you. I'm kind of slick. I did reality TV. I don't have a problem getting some people in the community riled up to go ahead and create town hall meetings online or what have you, to push the agenda and get it on the news or get it into forums and talk about it. So they'll be working in a way for themselves, but actually doing something that I
But she
appreciate.
works inside of government, and I think she's got to be careful with her
No,
job.
that's why I said, no, not putting her name on it. That's why I say get
no.
somebody else. I'm speaking from the perspective that you can't do it. I'm talking to people and making sure, encouraging them, bringing it up and say, what do you think about that? You guys should do something about it. In reality, that's what we do.
Yeah, and encourage people that come to talk to you or your department. Like, if they don't feel like they're getting answers, figure out how you can tell them where else to go, or how to get more people involved, or it. I'm concerned about your position. I don't want you to jeopardize your job, because that's important. It is where online anonymity also comes in. And if you can create a new space, if you could create a forum or a Discord server or whatever you can, and not use your real name, and let people know through whatever means you can, through community, through word of mouth, that there's this new community of people. We're talking about things that are going on locally. And if you want your voice heard, you can come here, and by that you'll build a larger voice.
Awesome. You'll have to create the workflow.
Yeah, if I was your friend, I would do it for you. And just be like, what's going on now? All right.
What's happening?
I hope that helps for sure. Yeah.
Okay. What was the last question?
We're at time. We're over time. But thank you, everybody, for coming out and talking about neighborhoods with us. It was awesome. If you enjoyed the panel, rate it in the app, so we can maybe come back next year and have more conversations. But thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, panelists.
Thank you.
You're all awesome.
Thank you, everyone.